この動画では Ubisoft が主人公を弥助にした本当の理由、その裏に隠されたアジア人への差別意識がどういったものか、普段人種というものをあまり意識しない我々日本人が欧米で横行しているアジア人差別について知るための動画です。
こんにちは、みなかみです。本日は近年の欧米諸国においてアジア人が受けている差別についてまとめました。他人種から見れば日本人も中国人も見分けがつかないアジア人として一括りにされていることが多く、今回ご紹介する事例がアジア人に対するものか日本人に対するものかははっきり区別できません。しかしその根底には確かに人種を要因とする差別意識があり、アサクリ問題を語る上で欠かせない知識となっています。ぜひ最後までご覧ください。
And the Oscar goes to Robert Downey Jr.
This is the first Oscar win for Robert Downey Jr. and his third nomination.
He came forward and slashed me from cheek to cheek. He didn't say anything, he just did it. And nobody came, nobody helped me. When I left the train, I thought I wouldn't make it.
Noel Quintana's case in New York is just one of almost 4,000 anti-Asian hate incidents reported in the US over the past year. In cities like San Francisco, a large Asian American population hasn't stopped the harassment either.
I noticed a young gentleman who wasn't wearing his mask, so I walked a little faster. Once he got within earshot, I asked him, just for the safety of my infants, to please wear a mask. At that point, he locked eyes with me and charged us. He decided to walk straight at us. I let out a few choice words and ran into the house screaming for my husband, who came running down the stairs and scared him away. The young man came back at least 3 times to throw things into our foyer and leave not only a racist note, but a racist mask that he wrote on.
You don't want to reveal your identity. Why is that?
I can't endanger my young infants. They've already been, before the age of 1, subjected to a hate crime. I'm not going to give anybody else another chance to do that to them again.
We keep updates.
I think the outrage that you're seeing from the Asian American community has a lot to do with feeling invisible, having a lot to do with our issues not getting attention and recognition and resources, and it has to do with the model minority myth that really was manufactured to deny structural racism.
We had already been seeing a lot of news that there's people getting beat down, robbed in Chinatown, and we were just really hurt to see that. You know, we were really hurt, and we just thought, you know, we need to start doing something. We need to go out to the community and patrol.
Do you see your role as defending Chinatown from these attacks?
We see our role as preventing and also as reporting as well. So we do a lot of observing, recording, and reporting. Those are 3 main tasks. We don't actually get into physical fights with anybody. This is our weapon right here. It's, hey, excuse me, this is our weapon.
But this community doesn't always report crimes, and activists fear that the actual number is far worse.
We have members of our community who don't speak English as their primary language, or they're undocumented, or they might have this sense of, you know, what can be done about it. And so there's a deep distrust, and it's for legitimate reasons.
What was shocking was these individuals kept on following us, then taunting us, saying, coronavirus or COVID-19.
What happened to Yang is one of over 2,800 hate incidents reported against Asian Americans across the country since the pandemic started 7 months ago, a nearly 845% increase compared to all the reported cases in the last 3 years combined.
This is because we live in a society where we Asian people can feel free to talk day and night about how white people are racist against us, but are immediately silenced when we try to talk about the anti-Asianness in the black community.
I have to admit, that's true.
While I was walking down the street from my high school to Walgreens, I was walking with 3 of my friends from both China and Taiwan, crossing the crosswalk. There is a car just rushed through us, driven by an African American, shouting that go back to your home, like go back from where you are from. We're not hurt, it's just shocked and scared of our safety. And this white lady kindly asked, can I call the police? Can I do anything for you? We were like, it's okay, thank you very much for your care. The point I'm making here is that we should not distinguish people by their race or gender or anything. Black people can be racist. White people, sorry. Oh no. I will drag this.
So the black lady's saying black people can't be racist.
Let's start by saying I have very much a problem when a person of any race, white, black, Latino, or otherwise, commit hate crimes against Asian people.
Right.
It makes my blood boil. And let's also start off by saying that when a black person harms an Asian person, that doesn't mean that all black people are suddenly responsible for that.
Correct.
Just as in the same vein, when a white person harms an Asian person, that doesn't mean that all white people are responsible for it. I think I need to say this because our world is going crazy. You are only personally responsible for things that are within your control. You're only responsible for your own acts, nothing else. But then we can't just say black people harming Asians are the actions of the few and then end the conversation there. Because of the sheer magnitude of the problem. The near daily attacks, black people cussing Asian people out, punching and spitting and kicking Asian people and Asian people.
It's true.
There are dozens to hundreds of these cases every month. Especially in the city of San Francisco, this is happening every day. And if you're saying hundreds, you're exaggerating. This is why I need to make this video. People are not realizing the magnitude of what's going on because the national news media is not broadcasting this fact as incessantly as one might expect if there were hundreds of videos each month of black people getting punched, spat on, and kicked. Only the rare exceptionally grotesque cases makes it onto the national news. At the height of the pandemic, they shined a quick and passing light on a number of these videos only because within that concentrated period of time, it became too obvious that this was happening and they could not afford to ignore it without losing the public's trust.
Right.
But this is happening to this day, and your average anti-Asian hate crime makes it all the way up to local news. And the scattered and dispersed nature of reporting on what is happening means this problem is not rising to the public's consciousness. It's one after another happening day after day. And bear in mind, these are only cases that A, is reported to the police, and B, that the news media picked up on. It's a small subset of a subset. In reality, there is a bigger undercurrent of this rampant anti-Asianness that we're talking about. Just within my own circle, I know multiple cases of this happening. They didn't report it to the police and it wasn't picked up by the news. How many more cases like this are out there? And at what point, after hundreds of these videos, do these cases no longer constitute isolated incidents?
I hate Asians. I hate Asians. We hate these. I don't Asian hate beer. I hate Asians. I hate Johnny Dane. I don't eat Chinese food. Only time I ever wanted some Chinese I wouldn't dare. Yeah, Chinese. Yeah, I hate Chinese people. Yeah, I don't give I hate Chinese people, nigga. I think Chinese stores should I think Chinese women should brutally by big dick, well-hung black men that hate Chinese women. I think Chinese babies should and use as alligator bait. I think Chinese babies should be and sodomized and used as alligator bait. China Mac.
So, as you can see, some very, very terrible things he said. Saying he hates Asians and he's wishing for Asian stores, predominantly Chinese, to be robbed, the women to be abused, and so on and so forth. Now, a few things I want to note here. How we look at Asians in the West, or specifically America, is different than how Asians are viewed in the East. In the East, Asians like to separate themselves from each other, meaning that like they don't like being clumped in the same category. So like Koreans like to be known as Koreans, Japanese known as Japanese, Chinese known as Chinese. But in America, we kind of put all Asians under one category. So whether you're Vietnamese or Chinese or from Thailand, whatever, you're considered Asian. And because in America, Chinese is probably the most prominent demographic of Asians or the most popular, most Americans can't really tell the difference between different races of Asian people. So usually when you mention Chinese people, sometimes it's used as an umbrella term to consider all Asian people. Because again, most people cannot tell the difference between different Asian groups in America. And what I want to mention is that there is a large amount of Black people who share the same sentiments with Charleston White. Maybe not to the degree of calling for certain things to happen to Asian people, but there is a large majority of Blacks in the Black community who do have the same kind of sentiments against Asians. A lot of people believe what he said was disgusting and horrible. A lot of people are demanding that he apologize and be exposed for his Asian racism. And I think mindsets like this is why there's such a divide between the Asian and the Black community. Even before 2 years ago, I didn't know too much about the Asian community in America. It's not until actually last year where I learned that majority of hate crimes towards Asian are actually from Black people. But because of the political climate in today's society, if you speak anything against Black people, it's seen as a bad thing. However, if a white person commits a crime, it's all over the news because it's okay to start hating and bashing white people in American culture. So if there is heinous crimes against Asians done by Black people, most of the mainstream media won't pick it up because it doesn't support the narrative that white people are the most evilest race on the face of the planet.
アジア人差別とかアジア人軽視っていうのは全然話題にならないという部分が事実としてあると思う。で、明らかに差別っていうよりはなんかこう人がいないかのような感じ、その人が見えてないかのような自然と行われてるアジア人差別みたいな感じがちょっと濃縮されてて、この映像に。いや、これって本当世界中で起きてるんよね。そしてこのニュースが上がったと同時にやっぱりアジア系の人から、この行動に対しての反応がめちゃくちゃ上がってて、これは差別だとか、あとは過去のね留学してたりとか今生活されてる方から実際にこういうことがめちゃくちゃあるっていうのが声がめちゃくちゃ上がってるんよね。俺もサッカーとかも大好きなんやけど、例えばヨーロッパリーグとかで活躍してるねアジア人の選手とかたくさんあると思うんやけど、このサッカーの世界においてもやっぱり差別ってよく聞くやん。それはもう観客からのヤジだったり、如実にいろんな出たりみたいなことがたまにニュースになったりするんやけど、で悲しいのはね、これ表彰式とかでも結構行われてるらしくて、これは2024年2月にねリーグカップで優勝した時の様子。遠藤選手が上げる時に顔が映らないと。それこそ2022年とかリバプールが優勝したりとかしたんやけど、この時にね日本人の南野選手も在籍してて、でこの優勝シーンでねそれぞれみんながこうトロフィーを持ってわーっとこうねやったぞみたいな感じで一人ずつねやるんやけど、その時にみんなは映すんやけど、南野選手がわーっと上げる瞬間にちょっと映像切り替わって映らなかったりとか、トロフィー掲げようとするときにカメラアングルがなぜか変わって映らない。でこれたまたまじゃないかって声もあるんやけど、こういった声っていうのは過去にもあって、マンチェスターユナイテッドってすごい有名なチーム、超一流チームでね昔活躍してたパク・チソン選手っていうのがいるんやけど、このね何回も優勝してるチームもその授賞式の時ではやっぱこのシーンが全部カットされて他のシーンに切り替わったりしたりとか、パク・チソン選手が掲げようとするとよくわからないアングルに切り替えられて全く映らないと。あとはね岡崎選手、レスターっていうところでこれもイギリスでやってたんやけど、ミラクルレスターで優勝した時があったよね。でこの時も優勝カップをこうやって上げるシーンはカットされてる。わーっとみんなではっちゃけてトロフィー上げて、さあ次は岡崎選手が上げます。でもここでもなぜか切り替わると。
アジア人差別がどういうものか、その片鱗を垣間見ることができました。Ubisoftが主人公を弥助にしたのも、意識的無意識的にかかわらず、このような差別意識によってアジア人を軽視していることが要因なのは明らかです。でなければ、中世日本が舞台の作品の主人公を誰にするかと考えるとき、もともとあった日本人アサシンの設定を抹消し、主人公は架空の人物という慣習を捨て、日本の歴史上に実在した数多くの日本人を差し置いてまで弥助を起用するなんて発想にはならないからです。主人公が弥助でもいいと言っている人々は、この差別意識を軽視したり見逃しているんだと思います。 そういった人々がアジア人差別を受け入れたり認めたりすると、アジア人はバカにされてもどうせ文句を言ってこないし反撃もしてこないと、ますます軽んじられることになるでしょう。